2025 was one of those years where movies actually showed up again. Big crowd pleasers, real deal art house swings, sequels that didn't suck, and indies that hit like they were made with a pulse. It was a year of craft, sound, cinematography, editing, production design, S-tier shit. It was also a year where scripts carried real weight. There was grief, friendship, ambition, politics, identity, all that big stuff. And somehow it still found room to be really fun. If this is where film is headed in our future, keep that engine running. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Gerald here with you. As you could probably guess, this is one of my very favorite videos to make every single year, and I've been working on it for a few weeks now. But I get to talk about my personal favorite films of the year, regardless if they're in that awards discussion. These are the ones that stuck with me, the ones I couldn't shake. I'll probably still be thinking about these even when we're deep into 2026. Some of these titles you're going to recognize, whether that's from box office success or for current award season buzz. Some will sound familiar, but you might need to break out Google just to confirm it's what you're thinking it is. And then a few of these you flat out probably never even heard of. Hollywood was locked in this year. We got some great horror, some great comedy, strong genre filmmaking, and even a couple of superhero movies that were pretty good. Yes, I actually liked some of those in 2025. The real feast for me, though, was international cinema. Park Chan-wook is back. Norway went wild with some absolute bangers from that country, and Brazil has me yet again planning a trip to meet all the cinephiles out there. Just a quick disclaimer, this is just my opinion. I saw 168 new releases in the year 2025, so as you can imagine, it was very, very hard to narrow it down to 25. If your favorite is missing from my top 25, just know that I gave nearly 70% of the films that I saw, the 168, a 3.5 stars or higher on Letterboxd, which would essentially be a 7 out of 10 or higher. That is a lot of movies that I really liked in the year 2025. There's only 25 spots. What do you want from me? And real quick before we get into the countdown, do not forget about channel memberships. I've been trying to make an effort to mention that on more of my videos, especially during award season, because I do get a lot of great engagement and feedback from you guys. But for as little as a couple bucks a month, you can help me out here in the garage. Keep everything running. I spend a lot of time writing the scripts for these. Obviously the video editing, the software that I have to film the videos, cameras, blah, 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 blah. So anything you can do to help me would be greatly appreciated. And I do have some pretty sweet perks for you if you decide to join as a member as well. And last but not least, on the housekeeping front, I did write a 30 or 45 second or so script for each one of these films discussing what I love about them, but I made sure to not spoil the movie, which is another reason why I did it. So there will be no spoilers for any of these 2025 films in the off chance that you have not seen them. Here are my favorite movies of the year. Friendship nails something rarely captured cleanly, and that's the weird, fragile ecosystem of middle-aged male friendship. It's funny in that painfully specific way. You're laughing and wincing at the same time. You've met this guy. You might have even been this guy. And then it sneaks up on you emotionally. Tim Robinson is doing some career-level work here, threading charm, insecurity, cringe, and sincerity all in the same breath. It's a movie about how hard it is to connect and how much it matters when you finally do. Bradley Cooper is basically collecting filmmaking styles like they're infinity stones at this point, because this feels like nothing that he's ever done before. Is This Thing On is a small, grounded, and purposefully unglamorous and everyman story with real lived-in texture. It shines a light on the strain of aging marriage without turning it into melodrama, and it doubles as a bit of a love letter to the New York City stand-up comedy scene. The grind, the ego, the lonely late nights, the hope that next set might land. It's intimate, human, and it's quietly confident. It's actually one of Cooper's best films. As you guys know, I'm a defender of this film, and it ended up making the top 25. This is the kind of political thriller that doesn't just want your attention, it wants you to be uncomfortable. It's tight, relentless, and it forces you to sit with every choice that these characters make. And the ensemble is absolutely loaded. You've got Idris Elba, Greta Lee, Anthony Ramos, and of course Rebecca Ferguson coming in early, like a shot of adrenaline. I understand the ending of the film is divisive, but I'll say it plainly. If you hated it, that's the point. Bigelow isn't here to tuck you in all nice and cozy. She's here to leave a scar. We might need to start calling these type of wartime films Bigelows. It's basically our own genre at this point. A lot of films this year in 2025 explored healing through art. However, Hamnet might be the one that left me the most wrecked. Chloe Zhao brings that quiet, naturalistic eye, muted landscapes, gentle pacing, emotional honesty, and it becomes the perfect frame for Jessie Buckley's absolutely gutting performance. This one lives where devastation and hope sit at the same table, and they stare at each other from across the way. It's a complex watch, it lingers, and if you're a parent, as I am, this one is going to hit different, trust me. Man, K-pop Demon Hunters could have made this damn list off of pure entertainment value alone. It is a pop culture rocket ship, huge energy, killer animation, and a soundtrack packed with earworms you'll be humming for months. But what got me is the core idea, this idea of battling with your inner demons just to become the best version of yourself, the version that you can live with. That's real. And it never forgets to be fun while saying it. The girls are flat out badass in this movie, as is the soundtrack. It is ridiculously rewatchable. This is honestly one of the most joyful experiences I had in the theater and at home on Netflix all year, and my kids love it. So you gotta love that. All right, look, I'm a super fan. It was hard for me to not put this all the way up at number one. But like I said, this list was excruciating. I'll say this is a fan of the musical. On the stage, Act 1 is usually that stronger half. It has the biggest songs, the most iconic lines. It's pure fun for the most part. Act 2 gets darker, messier, and kind of a little soap opera-y. And somehow, the film version flips that. Because for me, Wicked for Good makes the second act hit harder. It looks better, and it feels more emotionally locked in. And it's more than I ever expected. As a two-part package, this is already one of the best stage-to-screen adaptations that you're going to see. And Ariana Grande, but her and Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, I can go ahead and tell you, that is one of the great cinematic duos, honestly, of the 21st century. The Secret Agent is set during Brazil's dictatorship era in the 1970s. It lands like it was made right now, though. It's a warning about government overreach, corruption, and how fast morality gets rewritten during a crisis. It's heavy stuff, and the movie doesn't flinch in the face of it. But it grounds all of it, mostly through Gerald Morris' performance, as a stoic father trying to protect his kid without surrendering his patriotism in the process. That tension is universal. It makes the politics personal, and it sticks because it understands the cost of doing the right thing. It isn't theoretical, it's human. As an Alex Garland guy, and yes, I'm still defending Civil War almost a year later, warfare was always going to be in my lane. This one reconstructs a real mission through the fragmented memories of Navy SEALs in a single platoon during the Iraq War. And that structure makes it feel disturbingly real. The visuals are sharp, the storytelling is immersive, and the sound design is S-tier next level. It's the kind that makes you feel like you're trapped inside that moment. Most importantly, it refuses the glossy, Hollywood-approved version of war. There's no hero posing, no easy catharsis, just the blunt truth of how fast everything can go wrong just like that. I guess we're at a bit of a dark stretch in my countdown. The Long Walk has Stephen King DNA all over it. Youth, camaraderie, dread, and that creeping sense that something bigger is going to swallow these kids whole. It echoes the spirits of movies like Stand By Me and even The Shawshank Redemption in how it captures bond formed under pressure. Except here the pressure is imminent doom. It's a found family story told from the darkest possible angle. And it feels weirdly current, like it could have been written last week. That's the scary part because King's story was written nearly 50 years ago, but we just keep nodding and walking anyway. As a storyteller, it's no mystery that King is one of the masters, and this was an enthralling watch. It also featured one of the best performances of the year by David Johnson. Ephes is quietly one of the funniest movies that I saw all year, but it's also one of the sneakiest gut punches. On the surface, it's about baseball and the camaraderie that forms around that pastime. But underneath, it's about getting older and watching the places that you love disappear because time doesn't care about your nostalgia. The tone has that deadpan, off-kilter wit that you would associate with something like Napoleon Dynamite, but it's also surprisingly poignant. It's about community and the small rituals that hold people together. And yeah, of course I loved it. I'm also a baseball guy, which didn't hurt. Blue Moon is a love letter to the golden age of Broadway. It's got piano jazz drifting through the room, scotch glasses clinking, cigar smoke hanging in the air of almost every scene. Ethan Hawke delivers the performance of his career, only slightly rivaled by First Reformed, as he plays Loren's heart here. And the film centers on the creative breakup between him and Richard Rodgers. The vibe is nostalgic and playful, but Hawke makes sure that loneliness, regret, and heartbreak are always right there beneath the surface. It's layered, it's sad, and it's sophisticated. It gives you a peek into the soul of a genius who could not outrun himself. Eddington is the rare movie that rewires your opinion over time, because I walked out mixed. A few days later, I respected it. Then I wanted to rewatch it, and then about a month later, I realized I actually love it. Ari Aster made a movie that feels stamped into the moment. The time is now, and it's uncomfortable on purpose. He uses the COVID era as a landscape, but the real subject is how we treat people who don't think like us, and how quickly that turns ugly, absurd, and frankly shameful. It plays like a worst-case scenario, but the problem is, it doesn't feel that much like fiction. Dylan O'Brien is doing career best work here, like by a long shot, and it's wild how seamless it is. He plays twins who couldn't be more different. One is a burly, introverted man's man, and the other one is a gay, extroverted thrill seeker. And you stop thinking about the performance trick, because the characters feel fully lived in and real. James Sweeney's script is one of the year's best, digging into opposites attracting, identity, and the strange ways we get rescued by people we didn't expect to matter. It's funny, sharp, and unexpectedly warm. Sometimes the right stranger comes along at the right time, and this movie gets that. Sorry Baby is one of the year's best screenplays also, and it announces Ava Victor as the real deal. The film explores grief, sadness, longing, and acceptance with a tone and rhythm I honestly have never really seen in a film before. It's very specific, brave, and quietly devastating. Victor's performance is the anchor. She's awkward charm, emotional honesty, and a presence that basically forces you into her corner from the first sequence. The subject matter can get dark, and it doesn't dodge that. But the script does have levity, and it has it in the right places. The chemistry with Naomi Ackie and Lucas Hedges keeps it alive and breathing. It is a true independent gem of the year. Well, here we go, another international pick, and of course, it's Park Chan-wook. No Other Choice might be the most technically immaculate film I saw all year. The cinematography, the editing, the lighting, transitions, the production design, it's downright divine. Park Chan-wook is operating on a level that basically no one else is even touching. This movie wears a dark comedy mask, but underneath it's brutally sharp, and it's looking at job hunting and capitalism, the quiet humiliation baked into that grind. Lee Byung-hun gives one of my favorite performances of the year. It's slapstick funny 1 minute, and then genuinely menacing and tragic the next. It's slick, nasty, and painfully real. Time to get into my top 10 here. Maybe some controversial picks, but hey, these are my picks. Jay Kelly is the perfect reminder that you can't judge a movie by its cover. From the outside, it looks like another Hollywood vanity project. The elite patting themselves on the back while the rest of us are out in the parking lot watching them do it. And sure, there's some of that awareness built in here. It's meta in that way, but the movie is really much deeper than I expected. It's about the threads that bind families together, especially fathers to their children. It asks real questions about work-life balance, the stuff you don't think about until it's already biting you in the ass. And it never loses that love letter feeling towards cinema and what movies inherently do to us. I gotta tell you, I was in tears by the end of this film, and I can only say that about 2 or 3 films in 2025. Probably on everyone's top 10, but for me at number 9 is Sinners. Ryan Coogler pulls off something that should really be impossible. He married genre chaos with prestige confidence. Sinners plays like a historical drama, that moonlights as a music movie. But if you take one wrong turn, you're suddenly in a period piece vampire film. None of that should work, but it absolutely does. The ensemble is firing on all cylinders, led by Michael B. Jordan in another dual role here as twin brothers Smoke and Stack. The movie is sleek, sexy, funny, scary, and emotional. And that's before you've even fully settled in. There's a reason the box office numbers on this thing keep growing commas. It is a crowd-pleasing blockbuster from one of the best minds we have making movies today. You know, I saw this post going around on social media, and it was saying that we need more biopics, but we just need them to be about regular guys, just normal people, no celebrity, no legend, just a John Doe from your town. And I immediately thought about Train Dreams because I had just seen it. Joel Edgerton plays Robert, a man at the turn of the century trying to build a life. He wants to find love, raise a family, chase that idea of prosperity that everyone's promised. But then life shows up and reminds you it's not a fairy tale. There are going to be speed bumps and even tragedies. There's losses that I don't even have the words to talk to you about on this video. Along with Egerton's quiet power and the most striking cinematography I've seen all year, Train Dreams becomes this tender reflection of how hard it is just to live, no matter who you are. It Was Just an Accident is basically the film version of the question, do two wrongs equal a right? It's a simple setup, but it's profound execution. Even without the real-world context of Jafar Panahi, the director's history, and the obstacles that he's faced, this would still be a powerhouse. It uses the familiar right versus wrong framework, but the moral complexity underneath is the whole point. What caught me off guard is that it's also shockingly funny at times, even with that PTSD vibe kind of running through it. And the ending, bone-chilling. I mean, I'll just tell you, it's one of the most haunting final stretches I saw all year, if not the most. It has stayed with me literally for months since I saw the movie. Well, come on. I mean, along with Sinners, one battle after another is going to be remembered as one of the films of 2025. And it should be. Paul Thomas Anderson proves again that he can reinvent himself whenever he wants. This story feels eerily resonant with our current climate, even if it was written long before the temperature got this heated. PTA built something topical but wildly entertaining. There's mystery, adventure, comedy, sexiness, real-world stakes. It's all in there. And it's the first PTA film that truly feels like it's happening right now as you're watching it. He's telling it through the POV of the moment, not just the main character. Even though for me, Chase Infinity's Willa stole the damn show in this thing. Oh my God, what a show-stopping performance. It is a terrific ensemble, of course Leonardo DiCaprio, and they are all completely in service of the story. This is the one movie in my top 25 and that you'll hear thrown around this year, maybe along with Sinners, that I think will have that tag of all time attached to its name at some point in the near future. Sentimental Value is in a weird way the international highbrow cousin of Jay Kelly. And I mean that with love because I adore both. Obviously, that was on my list too. This one's deeply personal, but it's also deeply tied to cinema itself. Stellan Skarsgård plays an aging director, and the film orbits around him and his two daughters, and they're both tied to acting in different ways. There's a warmth to the family history underneath that film world stuff, but the movie also deals real heft. The long shadow of war, the way it rewires families, the mental health aftershocks that don't politely disappear. And the performances are absolutely stacked. Skarsgård's great, but then you also have Renate Ransva and Elle Fanning delivering career best turns, and newcomer Inga Ibsdottir Lilius, I hope I said that right, comes in scene stealing like she owns the damn place. She was actually my favorite performance in the film. The voice of Hin Rajab is not the kind of film that really you can even rank or comfortably critique. I'm not an expert on the Gaza conflict, and I'm saying that up front because I also can't deny what this movie did to me. It was the most emotionally impactful film I saw all year. The film takes place in a crisis call center where volunteers are desperately trying to coordinate help in real time. The story is intertwined with actual calls connected to young 6-year-old Hin Rajab. It stays in the call center. It lets the urgency and helplessness build. It makes it unbearable in the most honest way. It is soul-shattering, eye-opening, and it has kept my brain stuck on the human cost of war ever since. Leaving it off my list would have been dishonest. I simply cannot stop thinking about this thing. Lynn Ramsey has basically perfected the cinematic fever dream, and Die My Love adds another one to her shelf. This is manic, anxious, and often hard to sit with, and that's the point. Jennifer Lawrence gives her best performance here as a new mother dealing with postpartum, but the movie isn't just about that. It's also about the shelf life of marriage, the pressure of expectations, grief, longing, all the quiet fractures that build until they're not quiet anymore. Ramsey's visuals linger like a dream you can't fully explain the next morning. I found it hypnotic, unsettling, and oddly cathartic, like it dragged something ugly into the light and dared you to look at it. A late entry to the list for me, as I recently just saw this one, but with Marty Supreme, what can I say? The Safdies have almost invented a subgenre at this point. The panic attack movie, right? Think Uncut Gems or Good Time. Now turn that energy that you think of into a sports movie and then drop it into 1950s post-war New York City. It is eclectic, electric, and constantly moving, like it's trying to outrun your heartbeat. Timothée Chalamet goes all in, and his performance is steady, but openly imperfect, in a way that feels intentional, like the character's flaws are the rhythm of his performance. It's mesmerizing. And then Odessa A. Zion shows up and delivers a full Star is Born holy shit performance. She damn near steals the entire film. You'll be cheering and booing, laughing and wincing at this movie. It is nonstop WTF, but in the best way. I fucking love this thing. Well, we've reached my number one, and channel regulars, I'm sorry, you won't be shocked to A, see horror sitting at number one, and honestly, nobody is more tired of hearing me talk about The Ugly Stepsister than the people in my actual life, or possibly my regulars. I saw it back in June, and I still haven't shut up about it. I've described this film as The Substance from last year if you dropped it into a grim, Cinderella-style nightmare. It's the same fairy tale skeleton, but a completely different point of view. This is Cinderella through the eyes of one of the stepsisters, Elvira, who, by the way, is played with delicious precision by Leah Myron. Elvira becomes obsessed with beauty, consumed by competition, and the tragedy is what she loses along the way. Metaphorically, yes, but if you've seen it, you know I also mean literally. The body horror gets Cronenberg-level grotesque in the final acts, and then the next frame it looks more gorgeous with costume and production design that showcases the best of the year. It's disgusting and stunning, and it's definitely unforgettable. It is my number one of 2025. Should I give you some honorable mentions? I feel so bad. Let me know down below. What did I miss? But here's 5 quick honorable mentions. Now, next week I'm going to do my top 10 movies that no one saw, so I'm not going to mention those. That'll be a separate countdown coming up. These would be like my 26 through 30, my honorables. The Ballad of Wallace Island, the neon animated film that's in the race this year, Arco, Materialist, Sorry Not Sorry, it's fucking Celine's song, let's go. Eternity, which really surprised me, starring Wanda, or Elizabeth Olsen. I love that movie. And I'll also shout out The Left-Handed Girl, which just missed my top 25. That's another international film that is Sean Baker produced and basically looks like the Florida Project on the streets of Taiwan. Please, please, please let me know down below, what was your favorite movies of 2025? Really what I would love to hear is, what are you most surprised that I shouted out in my top 25? Is there one that you had never heard of, or that you didn't think was that great, or that you're adding to your watch list now that you heard me pine over it? Let me know all that stuff down below. Don't forget about channel memberships, and please subscribe at the very least. I will see you guys out here. I'll have a ton more award season coverage, but also a couple more 2025 videos on the horizon, as well as my most anticipated of 2026, which we're already halfway through January, so I need to get on it. I'll talk to you guys soon in the garage.